Namaste, my yogis. Welcome back. This is Kat from Jersey Yogalicious. And today I want to talk to you about a subject of forgiveness. I saw a couple of friends from high school that posted something recently about a person shouldn't, continue to be punished for something they did. If, they've tried to make amends, they should be forgiven. After all, we're only human. It doesn't make them a bad person just because they did something. And then on the other side, I received an email recently from a yogic student of mine asking the question of what the yogic belief is on forgiveness. And this was a person who elaborated a little bit about her situation, and she was trying to forgive someone who had a relationship with her in the past, and she was having difficulty with that. And she's also trying to grow as a yogi, so she was asking some very good questions, and she's also in her teacher training, so she's really trying to understand it so she could share it, with her students. And so I'm going to address that, and I'm also going to address the people that I saw on Facebook that posted that, because obviously they feel strongly about it, or it has that message has touched them in some way. So we're going to address two versions. So I'm going to address the yogic beliefs, and first I'm going to start off by saying this is again just spiritual and non-religious viewpoints. This is a guide to forgiveness, basically. So on a yogic standpoint, there's a few things that we're going to address when you're having trouble forgiving someone, or maybe, just want to learn more about it. So the first thing we say is, okay, when you're having that difficulty, what is the need that you have about what is going on right now about yourself that is not being met? Now, I know that sounds strange, but that is the first question. I have to say, what's wrong? What's really bothering me? What's not being met in my life? Am I feeling pain from the past? Am I feeling pain because it just happened now? Am I feeling rejection? Am I feeling betrayal? Am I feeling hurt? Am I feeling not loved by that person? What happened that this person brought it to light that I'm so angry at them? That's going to open up a whole bunch of stuff, a whole can of worms. And the other thing is sometimes you could feel empty after someone, after a relationship ends, or you have a problem with someone and you're no longer a part of their life, or they're not a part of your life. So you have this emptiness. So you have to ask yourself these questions. What is this gap that I'm trying to fill? And that would be the first focus, because just by answering those questions, you will get to the root of the other ones. The second thing is, what would be the benefits? You have to ask yourself, what would be the benefits for me? The pros, the cons. What are the benefits? What are the pros to me letting go, letting this go, letting my anger go, letting whatever came up that, what am I upset about with this person or the situation? And what's going to help me if I let go of it? What do I gain by that? Do I gain a sense of sanity? Do I gain a sense of control over my life again? Do I gain a better feeling that I've cleared the air? There's tons of things it could be. Will I be happier? Will I be healthier if I forgive this situation or this person? Will I have better relationships going forward with people if I forgive this person? And there's a real answer to that. It's real easy. Yes, you will. Will I be living more in the present? And as a yogi, that's where it's at, and we all struggle with that. So forgiveness a lot of times is deep-rooted from not just today's present, but something in the past that, triggered other things that happened later on. So you have to look back, and you have to be a grown-up here, and you have to self-analyze, and you have to say, did this start now? Did this relationship with, we'll say Jill, just for name, did my relationship with my BFF Jill, did it go sour because I said something about her spending habits, but but really I was jealous inside because maybe I didn't have the same budget to buy the designer clothes that Jill has. Or say I'm with my boyfriend, we'll say Jack, okay, and I have a boyfriend Jack, and Jack cheats on me, and I find out, and he moves out, and we break up, and that type of thing. And so I have to say, am I angry with the present situation, with both of those scenarios? Or is there something deep rooted here? I mean, with Jill, it would be, okay, she has the fancy clothes and I don't have the budget to have the fancy clothes, and so I have jealousy issues. So did this just start now because of Jill, or is there something else that's really bothering me? Maybe as a child I had hand-me-downs, I never had my own clothes. You know, whatever it was that drove me to become jealous. We have to get to what the key problem is. In that case, it would be jealousy. In the case of the cheating boyfriend, Jack, it would be he stepped out on my relationship, so it would be anger, pain, resentment, feeling that emptiness because now Jack's gone, I threw him out. So I have to address, you know, did this just happen with Jack, or did my father walk out when I was a child? Was I raised by my mom only? Or, you know, did my parents have this type of problem? Did my father step out on my mother? You know, that type of thing. So these things allow us, by self-analyzing, to address what the core problem is. And it's important that we be honest. And if you can't be honest with other people, you know, with a therapist, with a teacher, with a friend, be honest with yourself, because at the end of the day, you're your own best friend. The next thing that you're going to ask yourself is, what does your resentment feel like or look like? And what would your life be like without that resentment? If you could forgive Jill or Jack, what would your life be like the next day when you woke up? Because you no longer have to focus on, I'm mad at Jill, I'm upset Jill's not my friend anymore, Jack is moved out and I'm alone. That's no longer the focus, because now I don't have resentment. Now I don't harbor ill feelings. Now I don't keep it deep rooted in here and lash it out at other people. So that's something you need to discover. The other thing we say in yoga is we always talk about compassion. We have to practice compassion. We have to see the story from the offender's point of view. And that's probably one of the hardest things to do, but that is a step in forgiveness. I have to understand, you know, why Jill and I had this spat, what happened with that, or why Jack stepped out on me in that scenario. What led Jack to do that? What motivated him? I have to be able to take a step out of the angry me, the upset, resentful, empty me, and step into their shoes. And if you can do that, that is like the biggest part of forgiveness, because if I can look and say, maybe Jack didn't have the capacity to love because Jack was abused as a child, you know, or Jack has a pattern of doing this to women. Why does he have a pattern of doing this to women? And not be judgmental, because that's the last thing you want to be. You want to understand why this happened so that you don't harbor resentment. And that's your big step in forgiveness. And if you do a power vinyasa flow and you continuously exercise and keep up with your yogic practice, you'll find that along with going through the motions, that you can forgive about anything that comes up. And you can. There's nothing that's holding you back from forgiveness except for you. And if you say, well, I can't, you know, that person crossed the line, they did this, they did that, you're not trying. And that's just the truth. And we all have excuses. And the worst thing you can do is make an excuse for yourself. And the second worst thing you can do is enable someone or make an excuse for them. So, you know, to be an honest person, even if maybe you weren't the most trustworthy or honest person before, you know, that brings me to the other subject. Can a person change? Well, people say different things, but honestly, we can change. We are given free will to make choices. And every day is a new day. And if we do make a mistake, you know, we can come to terms with it and ask for forgiveness and seek forgiveness. And then we have to forgive ourselves. And once we do that and make amends with that, then we can move forward in our life. So you have to say at the end of it all, what part of this whole thing was a lesson to me? What did I learn out of my relationship with Jill? What did I learn out of my relationship with Jack? And every relationship is an opportunity to grow and to take something with us. Whether, it's small or whether it's monumental. There's going to be people that come and go out of your life, and that's just a process. And if I have my young students on here today, please listen to what I'm saying. There will be relationships in your life, and things will happen, and things will come and go. And this is just the roller coaster of life. There are ups and there are downs, and you just have to hang on tight. And be careful, because words hurt people, and we can't take them back easily. We can ask for forgiveness, we can seek forgiveness, and we can be redeemed for our sins, but we can't erase the pain that we create. And pain and suffering take their toll on people. They cause emotional baggage, they cause illness, they cause all kinds of things, but none of them are positive. And it's your job to turn it around. So if you've made the mistakes, and we all make mistakes because we are human, as my friends pointed out on Facebook, just turn it around. Vow to yourself that you're going to do better, and that starting right here and right now, I may have screwed up, I may have done this, I may have done that. That's yesterday. Today's a fresh day. I'm going to seek a better way. I'm going to do something to help somebody else, and I'm going to get out of my mind and my self-absorbed world, and I'm going to put my energy to use where it's needed, and I'm going to help someone in need, whether it's a child, maybe an elderly person, maybe you're just going to do a good deed for someone. There are plenty of them out there that need to be done, and if you don't know of any, please email me. I'll give you a whole list. So you just have to tell yourself that you can offer your love, your forgiveness, and your blessings to these people. And if you can do that, that's your final step. That's your final restitution to the whole situation. And that's your closure on it. And then you have to let it go. Because if you don't let it go, and young people, listen to me on this, if you don't let it go, you're going to harbor it. And it's going to affect you. And it's going to come back, and it will show its ugly head at some point in your life. It's karma. And we talk a lot about karma, and I'm a big believer in karma. So I also want to point out to you something else. I was reading a different article. Are there times when we shouldn't forgive? And it was funny because I was reading it, and it said in here, you judge me and tell me what I should do, but you don't have to live in my shoes. You Christians are all alike, okay? And you hear that, right? You hear that on TV, you hear it, people say it to each other. And so this particular writer said, thank you for coming to me. She told the lady, I thank you for coming to me and saying that, because let me tell you where you're wrong. And she was explaining, how if your spouse is repeatedly having affairs, which was her case, for an example, it's not your duty to, ignore it. You can't ignore it. And you have to realize that you need to stand up for the promises that you both made. So if your spouse or your boyfriend isn't being true to you, and you're trying to work through the forgiveness process, you have to demand his infidelity. So in that case, she was explaining, don't bash the messenger. I'm just trying to tell you that these principles work. And this was a Christian website. Again, I'm open to all beliefs. I'm just throwing this out to you. So they also talked about, she talked about another case example of chronic lying. Now, I happen to have known a couple of people and had relationships with a couple of people who were chronic liars. And it's really sad because it's hard to detect. And with certain people, there's a pattern. But anyhow, it's just a sad thing because it's a mental illness. And a chronic liar, you have to protect yourself from being hurt with them. And you can't trust them. and that's the biggest thing. So you have to rely on other people for reality checks. You can't rely on that person, anything that comes out of their mouth. That's a sign of a psychopath, by the way, if they're a chronic liar. You want to distance yourself. You want to protect yourself, but you also need to forgive that person because obviously they don't know what they're doing. Psychopaths just do them deliberately. They could be fully aware of it, but they don't care because it doesn't register in their brain to care, to have emotions for you. There's also other chronic behaviors that are, not as damaging as that. Someone that's disorganized, forgetful, late, sarcastic, with certain people it's fine, and with other people it doesn't fly. So there's little things like that with the behaviors that rock relationships, and whether it's a friend, a coworker, a spouse, a boyfriend, a cousin, it could be whatever relationship. If you're seeking forgiveness, just remember what I said. Just go through your checklist. The problem is that apologies only go so far, and forgiveness only goes so far, because if you don't mean it, and you say, yeah, no, I forgive you, I don't want to talk about it anymore, whatever, or the person's trying to make amends to you and you're blowing them off, that's as good as saying, I don't care about you, I don't give a crap, so that's not a true forgiveness, and you're not doing yourself any favor if you're giving someone that, yeah, I forgive you, I'll be your friend, but I'm not going to invite you out to lunch, I'm not going to go meet with you, I'm not going to talk to you, That's a falsehood. You're only being not authentic with yourself, okay? And you're not, that other person can see that anyhow, so they're never going to feel your forgiveness. So you might as well have never spit out the words that, yeah, I forgive you, or, yeah, that was in the past. If you mean it, it's a true intention, and it needs to come from the heart. When we say things, when we say words, in yoga, when we chant, we make a devotion, an intention, a prayer, we lift it up to someone, some being, something. Everything that comes out of your lips should be an intention, and they should all be good intentions. And unfortunately, we're human, and we say things, we run the mouth, as we say in Jersey. But I think that you need to be able to express to someone that they did something wrong to you, clearly, so that they know what they did. Because, again, getting back to the liar, the psychopath, the cheater, those type of behaviors, they, number one, most of the time, they know what they're doing, but they don't know what they're doing. They have a repeated pattern. They've done it before. They'll continue to do it. They'll do it after you. They're going to continue in this bad karma. And then one day, as I said, snafu, it's going to hit them and it's going to backfire. And so for your own well-being, so you can move forward, and I say this to my student who asked the question, you need to follow the steps. You need to analyze. You need to forgive. You need to be true with that intention. You need to separate yourself from that. You need to ask yourself, what am I going to gain from this forgiveness? And you need to truly let it go after you've forgiven it. And you need to go on with your life. And like I said, do good things to others, other karmic things, pay it forward, and it'll come back to you. There'll be other relationships. So for that special student, I just want to say keep your head up and thinking about you and your kids. So I want to talk about one more thing. If you have the unrepentant partner, that's the person who just continues to lie, cheat, whatever the bad thing is that's going on, and they don't ask for your forgiveness. They may not ask for it because they don't think they did anything wrong. And you can debate what was wrong, and you can drive yourself insane with that, and you're going to be talking to a wall. If they believe wholeheartedly that, they're innocent, then they're going to go, well, if I did something wrong, well, I'm sorry. You're just saying, like, I don't want to argue with you because it's not worth ruining a relationship over, but you're not getting to the root of the problem. God made our lips and our eyes so we can talk and look into the souls of the people around us and see if they actually have a soul. And everyone does have a soul, whether it's dark, whether it's light. And the dark ones can go to the light, and that's my message that I'm trying to give you here. So yes, we're human. Yes, we make mistakes. We shouldn't repeatedly go through our life in that cycle. And if we are, and if we're finding ourselves drawn to those things, perhaps we need to do some self-analyzation and see what it is that we're not able to forgive ourselves for, and work on that. So it starts within. If anyone has any further questions, please feel free to reach out to me. We will be talking more about compassion and karma. I do talk an awful lot about karma, and we'll get more into compassion. We'll do a little bit more on that later on at another time. But I just wanted to hit this subject because I had seen, like I said, several people post about it, and that one person reach out to me, and so I thought it was worthwhile. If you have any questions, you know my email, notaryonfastwheels@hotmail.com, and I look forward to working with you all. Namaste, Satnam. And do your 40-day global.